Morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. My name is Taliat. Wherever you are joining us today, I'm happy to be with everyone. So, without taking much of your time, I would like to introduce Grace to everyone. Grace Akinyi, she's a geoscience and innovation leader. She's a visionary geoscience-driven impactful initiative in mining, and of course, co-founded Eco Mining Technologies, leading innovation strategy. She's also a board member at Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industries, spearheading strategic programs for mining. She is the director of Women in Mining Kenya, championing community empowerment. She led geophysical survey projects across sub-Saharan Africa, aiding mineral exploration. She completed leadership in extractive and African Development Program at University of Cape Town, South Africa. She's also Young Africa Leadership Initiative member, Mandela Washington Fellowship recipient. Next slide, please. Of course, Grace possesses some professional skills, including leadership, geophysical surveys, program development, advocacy, stakeholder engagements, and research. Grace Akinyi hold a BSc in geology at Southeastern Kenya University, leadership in extractives and Africa Development Program at the University of Cape Town. Professional development, including leadership in business track at the University of Nevada, Reno, USA, impact investments at Menalin Capital, and also regarding volunteer experience. She is the country chair G100 Mining and Sustainability Future Africa Ambassador Advisory Team. Thank you. So I think I would like to move to the next segment, if I'm correct, which is career in mining.
No, that's great, Grace. So without further ado, we just hop into it, right? All right. No, that's fine, Grace. So my first question for you, Grace, just to give our audience a bit of more insight into, how you actually got into the mining industry. We would want to know,
Sorry,
how you.
break.
Hello? Okay.
I think you might have a problem with your mic.
Hello, Grace, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, no, that's great. So I was saying, can everyone else in the meeting hear me as well? Wow.
Yeah, you're good to go.
Okay, good. Thank you so much, guys, for that confirmation. Okay, great. So just to give our guests, some insight into how you actually ended up in the mining industry, I would personally want to know how you ended up choosing a career in geology.
Thank you so much, Tal. It's really nice meeting you. I remember interacting with you at the mining in Daba, and we were supposed to catch up later. I don't know what happened, but it's really nice to see you.
Very, very nice to see you. I won't, or say who didn't catch up with who.
Well, yeah, how did I end up in geology? I think it's more of by chance. I never thought I would be a geologist. I never even knew something like a geologist existed growing up. So I think my goal in life was always to be a lawyer. I always wanted to advocate for human rights and I thought, or rather, I felt that being a lawyer would give me a better opportunity to do that. And I was also always just interested in leadership. I had always been a leader all my life. So I felt like if I became a lawyer, it would give me so much more leverage in doing that. But then after completing my high school, my grades did not allow me to pursue law. So it's either, okay, it allowed me, but not through government sponsorship. So it was either I have to go through private means, which I couldn't afford, or pick another thing. And on that last day when the applications were being closed, I see like geology, and my mom is like, just pick geology. So here we are. That's how I ended up being a geologist.
Oh, wow, wow. One of the many stories where you do not choose mining, but mining chooses you.
Yeah.
No, that's great, Grace. And given that you are here now, you have become quite an influential figure, in the mining industry. I mean, if you could go back in time, would you still choose geology?
I've never thought about it, but I think everything in life has a purpose. So I've sort of, the more I grow, the more I learn that things just happen for a reason. And so these days, I think I just lean on to what life provides and try to find a purpose in it. So if I was basing on how things have turned out, I don't know if I would choose geology specifically, but I think I had like a final picture of who I would want to be at the end of the day. So even if I wasn't a geologist, I would still probably pursue something around trying to influence people of Africa into creating something out of themselves and building the continent and just changing the narrative. So I'm not sure if I would have chosen geology, but I would have still chosen the purpose
Mm.
at which I want to live for. So I think that's a fair answer.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's a pretty fair answer. You know, and given that you occupy this geology space, are there any traits that you've picked up or any gaps that you've realized that may need to be filled in within your area of expertise?
Gaps. Yeah. When you are introducing AfriMine, there's some important aspect you mentioned, and that is on mind shifting.
Mm-hmm.
I do believe that everything starts from our mindset.
Okay.
And I do realize that a lot of things don't happen because we do not have the capacity, but it's because we do not have the right mindset.
Mm-hmm.
And recently, I was in the field, I was in my community, and we were having an engagement with the women, and we were just talking about health and safety and why are they not using protective gears despite other organizations having also stepped in to try and provide boots and some sort of, let's say, gloves, helmets, um, face masks and all that. And so it was like, I don't think it's because you don't have, there's that aspect of they do not have access to it. But there was also a very big aspect that came out on these people just don't want to use them. Some
Mm-hmm.
are saying the helmets are heavy, some
Mm-hmm.
are, we can't breathe well through the masks, the face masks. And so a big aspect came out to me around it's not just about an availability of these things. There's an aspect to it, yes, but there's also a serious big issue around the kind of mindset that they also have especially towards adoption of technologies and adoption of nutrients and all that. So I don't remember the question you asked, but I think I've answered you.
Definitely. We know we're
But I
talking.
think I've answered you.
Definitely, Grace.
Yeah.
You've answered me. We're talking about the gaps being filled. Any gaps you'd found that need to be filled, and I think that is a very, very good answer.
Yeah, the mindset. Yeah.
And just a last introductory question. I'm sure that in this meeting at this very point in time, we do have some geology students, aspiring future graces of this world. Do you have any advice for them? I mean, regarding their studies and
Yes. I think I do have two angles under which I look at it. There are people in geology because that's what they wanted and that's what maybe they fell in love with rocks and all that. And there's another person who's there by chance, which is sometimes mostly the case.
Mm-hmm.
And so for people who are there by chance or they just found themselves pursuing geology, it might have come to you as a result of just a by the way, but it's in your space to make out of it what you want out of it. So when you're getting into a geology, there's probably specifications that as a geologist, this is where you have to stick to. It's like maybe you don't, for instance, I remember I've done work in exploration, and I really did enjoy doing exploration, but it also had some challenges that I was like, do I really want to stick to exploration? So being in a geology space, if it's something that you really wanted, you want to do exploration, you want to go and you are adventurous and all that, you are in the good space to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But if it happened to you just as chance, then it's not like a blockage. It's not like you have to die in it. It's about how can I best use what I have right now to carve a path for what I want. And that is the mindset that I want young people to have. I don't want young people to feel like they're locked, like they have to follow a specific path, that they have to lead using a specific equation. I think what I would tell a young person is listen to what your gut, your mind is telling you, and use what you have to carve a path towards where you want to be. Yeah.
And if I were to guess correctly, what you did not like about exploration was staying in a remote area all the time, right?
Well, I do love remote areas, and I'm someone who loves silence. So where there's little chaos, I love, because I'm also a really creative person. So where there's no chaos, it's somewhere I love. But I think my worst experience was I had an experience with these insects in Congo.
Okay.
Those,
Okay.
they traumatized me, and I was like, do I want to do this again? I didn't mind not having access to internet, electricity. I actually loved it. It was a good space to be. But those insects and the bushes and all that, I was like, do I really want to do this?
Interesting. No, that's great. That's great, Grace. I hope the people in the interview are also taking notes and absorbing as much information as they can. I personally advise you to have your notebook with you so that you can just jot down, some things that would make a difference in your life. Okay. Moving on to the second part of our question. These are regarding your experiences, and you've worked in quite an extensive number of geographical locations, including Kenya, the DRC, you're doing maybe geological mapping, exploration, and data management, right? And we're just curious to know, what, your day-to-day, or actually what your career journey has looked like this far.
Well, I would say I've done so much in quite a short span. So I think I cleared college in 2020. So this is what all these things we are talking about. I've done them like in I think 3 years. So what has my career journey been? It's more of I believe in your 20s you're meant to just be exploring. You don't have to restrict yourself or carve yourself in a corner and say this is where I am, and so I just have to do or die with this. I think in your 20s, what you're meant to be doing is exploring as much as possible, making all the mistakes, trial and error, and all that. And so that is what my life has been. I think it's still pretty much that. So my career, I started with, I think my first job immediately after campus. I think I registered women in mining, but then I had no experience in running a business and doing all that. So it was quite challenging trying to get stable in having projects and running projects and finding partners and all that. So I started women in mining, and then it was really challenging. And along the way, I realized, okay, I can't be broke all my life. I need to find a job. So that's how I ended up working with
Okay.
Africa. So what they were doing then was they were doing exploration, and particularly with ASM, they were providing access to geodata um, for ASM communities. So what happened is I was working under supervision because I was like, I think barely 1 year after campus.
Okay.
And what happened is the person supervising me, after training me, I think once or twice, I was still not even confident in doing it. He had to take a leave. And so I was left with the, the whole operation. I'm 25. I've never been to DRC. I don't speak French. I've never done it alone. And DRC, it's more of the mining, not DRC generally, but the mining sector is more of male, and DRC is kind of, how do I call it? They still have these traditions that they really hold dear to. And so I was left in this where I have to lead people who are way older than me and let them understand what I'm trying to do and show them the kind of value that we're offering. And so I think that was really a good, challenging moment for me. I think that was the moment of growth for me because I had to outgrow my age, I had to outgrow my fear, and I just had to do it. I was left with no option but to do it. So yeah, I went to Eastern Congo, and there was also like war clashes. It was really a challenging environment. So we went to Eastern Congo. We did some geological exploration exercises there with, I think, two different mining communities. Then afterwards, I went to the south around Lubumbashi and this other area. I can't quite remember the name, but it's neighboring Zambia.
Okay.
And that's where I had the experience with the insects and all that. And then, yes, and then I did a little bit of business development as well in the southern part of Congo, because that's where a lot of mining happens as well.
Okay. Okay.
I came back and decided to, okay, my contract ended with them. And at this point, I think I had really grown in my identity. So I decided to fully focus on women in mining and develop it. And so I started developing innovative ideas as well. So I think that has been the journey in so far. Developing things, developing ideas, and really, really believing in them.
Perhaps, Grace, you can share maybe your philosophy, when it comes to generating creative ideas and transferring skills from other industries to the mining industry, because, I mean, pretty much that's what you've done with your career this far.
So my philosophy around developing ideas is, it's not even about ideas. I think there's so many ideas around the world. This is not even the first idea I had. This is not my first attempt at entrepreneurship. I think my first attempt at entrepreneurship was when I was 16. I started a poultry farm. I wanted to start a poultry farm.
Okay.
So I think there are so many ideas that run around, and so long as you identify a need, it starts with identifying a need and believing that you are the right person to solve that problem or to bridge that gap. So it's more around not just ideas, but around self-belief and around confidence and around mindset, like knowing that I am the right person to solve this problem. And if I don't do it, probably no one else will do it. So you just have to be really, really, I would say, delusional about things.
Beautiful. I think it's that's very correct. I really agree with you on that one, Grace. And just to get a much deeper feel, we also understand that you have this unique love for gold, and I, as a member of AfriMine, would want to know what your attachment with gold is. Gold as in the mineral.
I didn't get the question.
Okay, so we found out that you have a great sense of love for gold, right? For the mineral gold. Yes, and we just want to know, what makes gold so special to you, because I just found that out as well.
Have I ever told someone that, really? So I think gold has stood the test of time. It's like this mineral that things come and go, but it's always there. Like it is always, its value never drops. It's very stable. So it's not just a mineral to me. It's sort of an identity to me, like something that really stands the test of time. Inflation comes, goes, like different. We've seen different revolutions happen throughout history, but gold has really been a stable mineral. And so because of that, it's something that I really identify with. It's a mineral that I'm really curious about, from its formation to how it develops, to its value, to its contribution to society and all that. So it's one mineral I'm really curious about and really interested in learning more and more about every day.
All right. Understood. I think that clears up some questions I had as well. Because when I try to join the link, you're a geologist, and have you heard about gold diggers before? So I just had a lot of links in my head. Hello, Grace? Hello, Grace, are you with me?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so I'm saying that I was just trying to connect the dots because you're a geologist and I've heard of the term gold digger. So I wanted to know if you're on that team as well.
Yes, I'm a professional gold digger.
Okay, that's great. So maybe just to know a little bit, about you more outside the mining industry. Besides mining and entrepreneurship, you're also into, the beauty scene, the youth influence, fitness, and fashion, you know.
Oh my God, you really stalked me.
No. We have a really very powerful, research team. This is
Yeah.
what you're all about. It's not stalking, it's research.
Uh-huh.
Yes, so we try as
Yeah.
much to
As
know
I
our
said,
guest.
yeah, as I said, like I honestly believe that as a young person, you should really not be scared. Like you should try out as many things as you can, open as many doors as you can,
Mhm.
and just live a life of courage. That's what youth is about. It's
Hmm.
about living courageously. So yeah, I've quite done a lot of things. I've tried everything. I've literally tried everything possible. And when I started, I said there was a particular vision that I had, which was
Mhm.
to be able to influence the world and influence people towards a specific identity,
Mhm.
especially our mindset, and being able to create something out of ourselves. Currently, I'm so interested in the continent, and I'm really interested in studying our history and just learning where were we, where are
Mhm.
we, and where could we be? What can we do? You get. So I'm trying to really answer a lot of questions in that regard.
Okay.
So I've
Okay.
tried quite a lot of things, just trying to be able to reach that one goal of being able to really influence a mindset shift and being able to get young people to just really believe in themselves and believe in the impact they can have on our continent, and shifting us from the mindset of those who have gone ahead of us. At this point, I believe as young people, yes, we've endured so much pain as Africans. We've been colonized. We've gone through all these things. But
Mhm.
I feel as young people, and we are seeing a lot of that shift.
Mhm.
We've seen Senegal's recent election. We're seeing a lot of that shift in young people, just having a whole different mindset and moving away from looking at themselves as victims of circumstances and just coming out and building something. That's my goal. Young people, build, let us create. And so yeah, in that process I've tried passing that message through so many avenues. I've been a model, I've been in the fashion space. I'm so big on influencing, I've been in
Mhm.
sports. So
Mm. Mm. Mm.
I, I'm just trying to drive the message home.
Ah,
Don't be limited.
and I think that's very very inspiring. Maybe some people may feel that since they're mining professional, they can't do anything else. But you just seem to have broken that narrative. You're creating a new narrative now. So we really appreciate you for doing that, Grace. All right. And just out of interest, so how is the time management, because one second model, one second influencer, one second entrepreneur, does someone manage a schedule for you? Do you have planners, day planners, or you're still running your own day?
Oh my God. I also don't know how I am managing. I think I do it in seasons.
Okay.
So there are seasons when, for instance, in 2022, I think I was competing for Miss World Kenya, and I had just come from DRC from doing the exploration and all that. So at that point, I was in a season of I'm trying to reflect on how can I go build women in mining, and my contract has ended. So I was still in a transition phase, and I'm like, okay, as I think about it, let me do something else. You get so. It's not like I do them all the time. Right now, I think I'm really focused on women in mining and sort of building innovations. So it's more about doing it during seasons, and seasons always just present themselves. It's like sometimes I'm in a space where I don't even know what to do with my career, and I'm like, okay, as I'm thinking, let me do sports or let me do fashion. Yeah, so it's not like I'm doing everything at a go. It's always just a seasonal thing.
Okay. Now that now makes sense, but you're still doing a lot. you know. Okay. And just to our listeners, guys, I would kindly ask you to put your questions in the chat box, and we'll have them answered before the end of the conversation as we are near our close. Okay, so perhaps towards our last round of questions, Grace, you've achieved quite a considerable amount of success in a very short space of time, and we as AfriMine community really wish you all the best in your future. Are there any upcoming projects, initiatives that you're particularly excited to share with other people in this meeting? Maybe what you're looking forward to working on. What's exciting you the most at this point in time?
Yes, I think right now I'm in a space of innovating and gaining knowledge. So I'm thinking about school, advancing my education, but I'm also focusing so much on building products. So currently, what I've noticed or what I'm doing is going through or working with young people to see if we can move research from just like shelves.
Mm-hmm.
So we assess a lot of research work done by students in their undergrad and see what we can be able to create or commercialize together with them.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really a lot on innovation right now, and that's probably what I would say it's really exciting to me. And I also have a lot of initiatives with women in mining right now. There's some research work that we are doing
Mm-hmm.
from tomorrow
Okay.
on. I'm looking at just an assessing the aspect of formalization. I'm using my community as a case study, but
Okay.
I'm also looking at it from a global perspective, an African perspective as well, and try to connect the dots. So
Okay. Okay. Okay.
I kind of am a visionary, so I picture things first,
Mm-hmm.
then work with people to bring them together. So my goal with the research is just to be able to use my community as a case study, but then I'm looking at the end of it, being able to connect certain dots around uh, supply chain, around health and safety, around technologies and all that. So that's also a thing I'm really excited about right now, and also doing documentaries and uh, shaping the narrative using media and all that. So one thing I noticed is when you go there's the mining industry that the world wants to see. It's like there's this mining space that the world portrays. I don't know if you've watched the movie Gold something, the one Idris Elba, World Gold Council did. And so I met the guy, and I asked him, I don't think you guys portrayed a good light on how the gold chain looks like. And I feel like this is not a reflection of how there is some truth to it, yes, but the story it's selling, it's not like entirely true. And so we kind of had a discussion around it, and I really want to do some documentaries and just share what gold mining looks like in the real sense, from small scale perspective, large scale perspective, its contribution to society, and bring a lot of attention into the sector. So that is also something I'm really fascinated about right now.
No, thank you so much, Grace, for that, for that beautiful take. I mean, I'll be very happy, to see your productions, once they come out, even for free, as an AfriMine member, All right. So as we wrap up, Grace, we'd just like to know if, maybe in a couple of words, you have any comments or any advice that you'd love to leave the audience with, not regarding your career only, but in a general sense.
Yeah, my advice is about courage. This is how I look at it. Sometimes as young people, we look at people who are where we want to be, and we think that they really know so much, or they have something that we don't have. And sometimes I've gotten an opportunity to be in certain spaces at a young. And let me tell you, you probably know much more than the people who are in those spaces. You probably know much more. And so I think young people should come out of that shell, like the shell of feeling that you are inadequate, or you are still not ready for a space to do anything. And they should just understand that no one knows exactly what they are doing. Everyone is just figuring it out. Like even that big person that you think, okay, this one, even the president, he's just figuring it out. So as soon as you understand that, it gets you out of the guilt and the space of wondering if what if I do it and it fails, or what? Just fail. Like it's
we'll figure it out as you go.
it's nothing is like a matter of life. It's not a matter of life and death. So long as you're not pulling a button on a nuclear plant, it's fine. You get it. So, so just try it out. Just test as much as you can. Attempt things. Be courageous. Yeah.
No, thank you so much, Grace. I thoroughly enjoyed this one. This is the first one of the year, so we really thank you for kickstarting our year in a career in mining conversations. Just because of our time, I'll just have Mahlatsi take us on to the next stage. Grace, it was really lovely having you here. And perhaps we can wait for 1 or 2 more minutes just to see if we get questions before we move on. I mean, because we have a couple of minutes left.
Okay.
Hey, Tal. Hi, Grace. I just want to point out that the chat box is disabled, so I don't think people are able to send in their questions. So can you please enable it?
Okay, so I'm trying to see what you're saying, Nombula, because I have it open here. Elijah actually typed something in. Okay, no. Okay, no. Please go to the Q&A. Type your question in the Q&A. We actually have a question from Ife, and I'll just read it out to you. He's saying that we noticed you won an award in South Africa a few months back. What was that all about? Well, I could tell them, but Grace, since you're here, please.
So yeah, let me put it this way so that the message gets home. The award was about trying, thinking about something and wondering, okay, can this work? And then actually doing it, and then it works. The same thing I've been telling you here ever since I started speaking. So yeah, it was mining and innovation battlefield, and it was a research award. So I won it based on my project, my research that I'm currently doing on gloves, on protective gears for mostly women, to help mitigate the impact of the use of mercury on health and environment. So the products, it's like we are trying to develop two products. One is the gloves. Most of the gloves that are in the market were not satisfying certain parameters, and they're not suitable for the kind of work that mining requires. So we are currently, that is something that is currently keeping me awake and stressing me all the time. I'm trying to come up with that. And also it was about a retort that protects mercury from going to the environment, as well as from the women inhaling it, because when they burn gold, they do it on free air. So the retort was just to minimize the impact of mercury as well, to health and to the environment. So yeah.
I hope Ife has been answered. And he also asked another question, and this one was about, he was curious to know, what activities your guys are currently busy with women in mining of Kenya.
I think I did talk about it. So we are currently doing a research project. But my approach with women in mining is really focused on innovation. So what I'm trying to do with the current project is there's the research, but also we are developing a program that can be used for ASML and small scale and large scale mining linkages. So it's something that large scale mining companies can adapt in helping small scale miners to be more organized and to practice more sustainable mining more sustainably. So there's a digital component to it, there's innovation to it, and there's also education and awareness creation. So I hope that answers the question.
Thank you so much, Grace. And it looks like there's not many more other questions. So